I'm President Eric Barron, and on behalf of all faculty, staff, and current FSU students, I welcome the class of 2017 to New Student Convocation. Within that class, we have a special group, our very first freshmen to begin classes at FSU Panama City. Would those history-making students and the staff who accompanied them from Panama City please give out a cheer? We're grateful that many of your parents could join as well, and I would like those parents who are able to stand so that you can thank them for all they have done to get you this far. But the parents are already standing. And parents, the next time you're here in this location may just be to celebrate commencement with your student. I know that both ceremonies will be very special for your family. Now, please remain standing for the Joint Color Guard from the Army and Air Force ROTC, the Pledge of Allegiance, and the singing of the National Anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched with so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red flame, almost bursting in air, gave proof through the night that the flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave,
Color Guard, you are dismissed. And now please be seated. I want to thank the members of the Color Guard for helping us make this ceremony so meaningful. I also want to thank Quit Dang for leading the pledge. Quit served in the Marine Corps from 2006 to 2010, where he participated in over 300 combat missions in Iraq and trained Iraqi Army and police personnel. I'd also like to welcome my wife, Molly. Across the front of the stage, you see FSU students wearing black robes to signify that they are serving as this year's marshals. These individuals were chosen because they are aspiring members of the Garnet and Gold Scholar Society. The Garnet and Gold Scholar Society facilitates involvement and recognizes the engaged, well-rounded student who excels within and beyond the classroom in the areas of leadership, internship, service, international engagement, and research. The program was created as a way to encourage students to become well-rounded through thoughtful and intentional engagement, and it exemplifies how FSU is striving to become the most student-centered research university in the nation. The marshals are here today to welcome you and invite you to think about an important question. How will you maximize your Florida State experience in order to make a difference in the lives of others? I now ask the student marshals to surround the class of 2017 as a symbol of their support that they will provide as you begin your transformation into leaders of this campus, this state, and this world. The Transformation Through Teaching Award is given to honor instructors who have an intellectual, inspirational, and integrative impact on the lives of their students. These faculty members help to shape the completed individuals embodied by the 3 torches represented in the seal of Florida State University. Some of the faculty members honored with the 2012 Transformation Through Teaching Award carried in the college banners for us today. Would you please stand and be recognized? Finally, I want to acknowledge a very special guest who is with us today, Wes Moore, the author of The Other Wes Moore. As you know, his book was our selection for the One Book, One Campus program. We gave each new student a copy of his book to read this summer, so it is especially fitting to have Mr. Moore join us for Convocation. A convocation is a gathering of the university community to commemorate significant events in the life of the institution. Few things are more worthy of celebration than the entry of a new class of students into the university. The 3 torches on the Florida State seal, Vires, Artes, Mores, represent some of the core values of the university that we hope to see embodied in its students, faculty, and staff: strength, skill, and character. I now call for the lighting of the torches to symbolize the beginning of your transition to Florida State University. Vernica Allen, a BFA theater major from Melbourne, was selected to represent the class of 2016. In her first year at FSU, she enhanced her theater experience with her first main stage production, ironically called New Horizons. Despite the intensity of being involved in a mainstream production, Vernica was able to finish each semester of her freshman year with a 3.98 grade point average. Now I will invite Provost Garnet Stokes to the podium.
Good afternoon. Reading and discussing The Other Wes Moore gives us much to think about regarding personal choice and personal accountability. As FSU students, you will make choices and be held accountable for them. But don't forget that FSU is also a place where you will be offered abundant opportunities, some you cannot yet imagine. The majority of these opportunities will be created by a faculty member. FSU's faculty includes the brightest and the best, both in scholarship and in teaching. Guggenheim Scholar and Lawton Professor Jawale Zoller teaches dance in our undergraduate classrooms and across the globe. She takes her dance company, the Urban Bushwomen, to New York professional stages to lead workshops at universities around the country and to FSU's own 7 Days of Opening Nights Artist Series. Professor Zoller could be your teacher, your mentor, helping you see ways to create and sustain community through the arts. Other Guggenheim scholars working at FSU include poets David Kirby and Barbara Hamby, and religion professor Kathleen Erndl. All taught undergraduate classes last spring semester. How will their work influence your understanding of the world in which we live? Fulbright scholar Jim Dever brings the creation of 9 successful businesses and 2 teaching awards to the undergraduate classroom. What entrepreneurial opportunity might he help you create? Lisa Wakamaya, a Fulbright scholar who just won a senior fellowship from Harvard's Davis Center for Russian and Eurasian Studies, was awarded FSU's Undergraduate Teaching Award based on the nomination her undergraduate students wrote for her. How will her multicultural worldview broaden your Tallahassee experience? You don't even have to enroll in a course to learn directly from Nobel Prize winner Sir Harry Kroto. Last year, he gave a series of 5 free lectures that highlighted the wonders and the importance of science. Sir Harry meets regularly with students at all levels. He also creates art on a regular basis. How could a visit to his office or a seat in his lecture shift your relationship to science or your understanding of creativity? The majority of FSU faculty members have won some type of recognition for their contributions to teaching and scholarship, even when they are not in the undergraduate classroom. FSU teachers, researchers are available for conversation, to direct honors theses, to supervise undergraduate research, and to mentor. Let them help you see the world, your place in it, and your responsibility for it, as you choose which type of Westmore you will become. Now, I would like to introduce Rosie Contreras, your current student body president.
Thank you. The faculty members mentioned by Provost Stokes are shining examples of strength, skill, and character. And each of you has the potential to reach similar levels of leadership, achievement, and service. The faculty, staff, and students of Florida State are here to assist you in reaching that potential. Remember that you are connected not only to all current students and faculty, you are also linked to all those who came before you, and all those who will certainly enter Florida State after you have moved on to achieve your dreams. Please let SGA know how we can support your leadership journey at FSU. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker. Wes Moore is a youth advocate, an Army combat veteran, a social entrepreneur, and the host of Beyond Belief on the Oprah Winfrey Network. His first book, The Other Wes Moore, became an instant New York Times and Wall Street Journal bestseller. Born in 1978, Wes and his sisters were reared by their widowed mother. Despite early academic and behavioral struggles, he graduated Phi Theta Kappa in 1998 as a commissioned officer from Valley Forge Military College, and Phi Beta Kappa from Johns Hopkins University in 2001, where he also played football and earned a bachelor's degree in international relations. He was selected as a Rhodes Scholar studying international relations at Oxford University. After his studies, Wes, a paratrooper and captain in the United States Army, served a combat tour of duty in Afghanistan, then served as a White House Fellow to Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice. He serves on the board of the Iraq-Afghanistan Veterans of America, the Johns Hopkins University Board, and founded an organization that works with Baltimore youth involved in the criminal justice system. Wes Moore is committed to helping the parents, teachers, mentors, and advocates to serve our nation's youth. A portion of all book proceeds for The Other Wes Moore are being donated to City Year and the U.S. Dream Academy. Please join me in welcoming Wes Moore.
Thank you so much, and Rosie, thank you so much for your leadership. and also for the introduction, and to President Barron and Provost Stokes and the entire faculty and staff. Thank you for this invitation. And what's going on, Florida State? This is very cool. And I have to say, first, thank you for the very warm welcome. Whenever your book is mandatory reading, you're never sure exactly what kind of welcome you're going to get. So I definitely appreciate this. And honestly, I also just really appreciate the chance to be here today, because this commencement, this is the commencing of your entire academic experience here. And as you're going through this process and thinking about what it means to be a Seminole, what it means to go to Florida State, there are going to be so many things that are thrown upon you about how exactly do you define what that means and what this experience should look like. You know, we see it right now, quite honestly. I mean, I'm watching everybody in their incredibly impressive T-shirts about the different colleges that they're going to be in, the different majors they're going to have. And I know you are about to be bombarded every single day with this question of, what's your major? What are you going to study? And then, what are you going to do with that? You will hear that question over and over and over as you're going through this whole collegiate process. There's a couple things that I would like to remind you of, though, as you continue to hear that. One is that Florida State would have never accepted you if they thought that the pinnacle of your life would have simply been you getting a degree from Florida State University. They would have never allowed you to walk through the doors in the first place. And that's just the fact. The reason that you're here is because each and every person who's sitting in this arena right now, they understand and they see the greatness that lies within you, and that it's about much more than simply a piece of paper that you will get to frame and throw up on a wall at some point. You're here because they know that your destiny lies much further along the lines than simply a classroom that you will sit in or a paper that you will turn in. You're here because they expect greatness. And they're simply now asking you to define, what does greatness mean to you? That's why you were accepted. For people who they thought could have made it through Florida State and gotten the piece of paper, but that probably would have been all they would have achieved, I can guarantee you they did not receive a large packet. They received a small envelope. And they received notification that, unfortunately, you will not be a member of this class. You, however, are here. And it becomes part of your responsibility to understand, what does that greatness mean? And along those lines, and I'm going to be incredibly honest with you, you know, I finished undergrad 11 years ago. 11 years ago. Had to do my math right. And I'm going to be very honest with you. No one anymore ever asks me, so Wes, what was your major in college? No one anymore ever asks me, so Wes, how did you do in that class that you took? Or, hey Wes, remember that test you took on April 12th of 2000? How'd you do in that test? No one asks me. The truth is, all those questions will fade. The truth is, all those questions are ephemeral. The question that will always sit with you, not just now, but long after you leave this school and long after you leave any other place that you're going to be, is, what are you doing to make humanity better? That's the question that you must answer. Now, and don't get me wrong, you have to do well academically. All right? Don't go to teachers and say, I don't have to study because Wes Moore said it's not important and no one's going to ask me about it. Because the truth is that the better you do in school, the faster those questions fade, right? The worse you do, it's amazing how persistent those questions sometimes are throughout the remainder of your life, all right? So you got to do well academically. But you have to remember why you accepted here in the first place. And you have to remember what your larger personal responsibility actually is. Why are you here? And I would argue that the largest question that people are going to ask you is, who did you choose to fight for? Who did you choose to step up for? Who did you choose to make your voice heard for? You know, when I first went through the process of writing this book, The Other Westmore, I know probably like 3/4 of the people in here are all published, but you know, this was my first book. All right, so I didn't know the way the game worked. I didn't know the way the publishing process worked. And the way the publishing process works is this, is that whenever you walk into a bookstore, you pick up a book, everything you see on the inside of the book, all the words, the structure, the intent, that's what the author wants to share with the world. Those are the author's ideas, right? Everything you see on the outside of a book, the cover, the title, the airbrushed author photos, and the quotes and all that kind of stuff, that's what the publisher wants to share with the world. And the publisher holds on to those rights for a reason, because the publisher knows that this is about their market. Because when you walk into a bookstore, that they've got 3.2 seconds to capture your attention. And if they do not capture your attention in 3.2 seconds, you will simply keep on walking and you will move on to the next book. So they will do whatever it takes in 3.2 seconds to get your attention. I did not know that. I thought they cared about what I thought. Right? I didn't realize this was more of a ceremonial conversation that we were about to have. So they called me in, this about 3 or 4 months before the book was about to come out, and up until this point it was called Untitled by Westmore. So they called me in, and they're like, Wes, what do you think the title of your book should be? And I'm like, I'm glad y'all asked me, because there's like 6 titles that I really like. And I start rattling off all these titles. I was like, what about Baltimore Suns? Or what about All the Difference? Or what about Out of Many? Or what about End of the Innocence? And I start throwing these different titles out. And then I look at them, and I say, so y'all can go ahead and choose between any of those 6, because I'm fine with any of them. And they look at me and they say, well, that's very kind of you, but we think we have a better idea. And they said, what do you think about The Other Westmore? And I said, that might be the dumbest book title that I've ever heard in my life. It's true. And then they're like, what don't you like about it? And I was like, there's a whole bunch of stuff I don't like about it, but let me go ahead and start with 3. All right? First thing I told them I didn't like about it was I try to make it very clear that this story is about much more than just these 2 kids. It's about much more than just one name or one neighborhood or one race or one socioeconomic group or one generation. It's about all of us. The decisions that we make in our lives, and tantamount to that, the people who we have in our lives who help us to make those decisions. So by putting the name inside of the title of the book, are you not completely negating that entire fact? That's one. Second thing I told them I like about it. What self-respected author do you know that puts their own name inside of a book, the title of a book that they've written, right? No one's ever heard of the other J.K. Rowling or the other Stephen King, or, I mean, it sounds crazy, right? And then the third thing I told them I like about it, I was like, listen, no one knows who one Westmore is. So why does anyone care who the other Westmore is? Right? And so I said this to them, and they smiled, and they looked at me and they said, you know what? Those are actually all pretty good points. They said, the problem though is that you're missing the point. Because you're absolutely right. It's not about you. And it's not about him. The name's completely irrelevant. You can throw any name inside of that book title. It really doesn't matter. Because the fact is, there are Westmores that exist in every one of our schools and in every one of our communities and in every one of our homes. People who are one decision away from going in one direction or going in a completely different direction. Kids, people who every day are straddling this line of greatness, and the problem is they don't even know it. The name's irrelevant. The most important thing about the title is the other. The fact that our society is full of others. People who do not look like us, who do not speak like us, who might live in the other part of town than us, people who just might happen not to be in this arena right now. But so much of our destiny and so much of our legacy is tied up not just in ourselves, but it's tied up in them. So much of our future and our destiny and our safety and our security and our greatness is not just dependent on our own success, but on theirs. Who will we fight for? Will we stand up for the others? And will we make this collegiate experience mean more than simply a piece of paper? I know I didn't fully understand this process until 10 years ago 11 years ago, when the Baltimore Sun is writing this article about this local kid who just got a Rhodes Scholarship. And in this article, as you guys, as some of y'all read, they're writing this article about this kid who goes through a lot of stuff and goes through a lot of issues, but because of a lot of support, and because of people who helped me to understand that the world is bigger than what's directly in front of me, I'm now one of these 32 American students who get this Rhodes Scholarship, and I'm going off to England on a Rhodes Scholarship, and they talk a little bit about what the scholarship is and a little bit about my background. And at the same time, they're writing a whole series of articles about 4 guys who one day walk into a jewelry store. And the first 2 guys walk in the jewelry store, and when they walked in the jewelry store, they reached in their coats and they pulled out guns. And they cocked the guns back, and they started pointing the guns at everybody inside the store and telling everybody to get on the ground and keep your hands on top of your heads. And everybody who was inside the store just got on the ground and put their hands on their heads like they were told to. And 10 seconds later, 2 other guys walked in the jewelry store, and when they walked in the jewelry store, they reached in their coats and they pulled out mallets. And one guy with a gun and one guy with a mallet went to the left, while one guy with a gun and one guy with a mallet went to the right. The ones with the guns were keeping everybody on the ground, while the ones with the mallets were walking around and just smashing out jewelry cases and taking out watches and rings and necklaces. While everybody who was inside the store just kept their heads down and they listened as the glass kept on smashing around them. They got a little over $400,000 worth of jewelry, and one of them yelled, "Let's go," and then all 4 then ran out of the center of the store and then ran outside to the adjacent parking lot. And one of the people who was inside the store that day was an off-duty police officer who was moonlighting as a security guard. He was a 13-year veteran of the Baltimore Police Force. He was a 3-time recipient of Police Officer of the Year. He was also a father of 5 who just had triplets. And the reason he was working that day was because it was his day off from the police force, but he took on a second job as a security guard to make extra money for his family. And he got up off the ground and he drew his weapon and he ran outside to see if he could stop the guys from getting away. And when he ran outside, he started kneeling next to cars and vehicles to give himself cover. But he didn't realize that one of the cars that he was kneeling next to was one of the cars that the guys were in. And they rolled the window down and they shot him 3 times at point-blank range, and they killed him instantly. And there was a 12-day national manhunt for these 4 guys, and finally after 12 days, all 4 guys were caught. And one of the people that the police were looking for that was eventually captured and tried and convicted and sentenced for the crime was a guy whose name was also Wes Moore. And the more I learned about the crime and the tragedy and the people who were responsible for it, the more I learned how much more Wes and I had in common than just our names. And I knew there were questions I wanted to ask, and I knew Wes was the only one that could answer them, so one day I just decided to write him a note. And quite honestly, if the note that I would have gotten back from Wes, if it was like he wrote it in crayon or magic marker, or he wrote it with his whole hand, or instead of using words, he used pictures or something like that. If that's a letter I would have gotten back from him, I would have looked at that letter and said to myself, okay, I guess I get it. I guess this makes sense. But the problem is I've never received that letter from him. The problem is the letter that I did receive from Wes was one of the most interesting and articulate letters that I've ever received in my life, and it only led to more questions. And that one letter turned to dozens of letters, those dozens of letters turned into dozens of visits, and now I've known Wes for close to a decade. And I share that not to create sympathizers or not to reopen cases or not to start appeal processes, because Wes's fate is sealed. Wes received life in prison without the possibility of parole. The question that I wanted to ask was, why was his fate sealed so long before February 7th of 2000, and what can we all collectively do to keep avoidable tragedies from continuing to happen? And that's where you come in. Because when people say, well, what was the one thing, or what was the thing that one Wes had and the other Wes had didn't, the fact is there is no one thing. Raising kids is amazingly complicated, and when you happen to raise kids in some of the most precarious communities of our country, it is that much more complicated. And I will debate with anybody who wants to tell me that every child is born with the same amount of assets. Anybody who firmly believes that, there are some communities in this country that I would love to take you to and hear you make that same argument. I'm a firm believer that potential in this country is universal. Opportunity is not. And that difference between potential and where we all end up is where we all come in. We all who choose to pay attention and not simply be apathetic. We all to have a clear and a full understanding of what it means to truly be higher educated. And that the definition of higher education will never simply be how many letters do you have after your last name. It's about how exactly do you think about your role in this world while we're here. That is the truest definition. And this is the best preparation for that understanding. How do we think about education and the fact that education is not going to simply be about changing the first line of your resume, but the reason that we are so encouraging of education is that as you move up in education, your networks are going to change, and your friendships are going to change, and your connections are going to change. When I think about the story of Wes and about the story of education with these two boys, take it back from the boys for a second and bring it back to the mothers. When Wes's mother is the first one in her family to go to college, and she graduates from Baltimore City Community College with honors and then gets accepted to Johns Hopkins University. She does 2 semesters at Johns Hopkins University when she receives a letter indicating that her grants were cut. And she knew that she could no longer afford to go to school. I can't help but think how different her life could have been had she had the chance to finish college. Because it will always be about much more than simply the framed paper on your wall. This experience right here is extraordinary. And all of you have worked hard to be here. Work harder. All of you have sacrificed in order to be here. Sacrifice more. All of you have fought to be sitting in these seats. Fight smarter. Think about what this idea of higher education is supposed to mean and why exactly you were accepted here in the first place. I'll close with this idea. I think about higher education in many ways kind of like a new car, right? Where you get this new car, and listen, Florida State's a great school, so this isn't like a normal new car. This is like a Lamborghini or Bugatti or, you know what I'm saying? This is a serious car y'all got. And y'all worked hard for this car. And you dropped a lot of money on this car. Well, your parents dropped a lot of money, whoever dropped a lot of money. And you're looking at this car, and this car is beautiful. It's shiny, and it's beautiful, and it's fast, and your friends are looking at you like, wow, this is a beautiful car. You're like, yeah, it is a beautiful car, isn't it? It's a great car. And you sit in the car, and the seats dip low, and you have all the little cool little technicals on the dashboard, and the car goes up to 180 miles an hour. And you sit down in the car, and you start the engine, and you're pulling out, and you're on the highway, and you're driving the car 20 miles an hour so everybody can see you. You're driving a Bugatti. Take the car out for a spin. Let's see what it can do. You're at one of the best institutions of higher education in the world. Take it out for a spin. Let's see what it can do. Let's see how fast you can take this thing. Let's see how many curves you can make. Let's see how big of a difference you can make. Because the fact is, the fact that you're a member of Florida State University means people will take you seriously on what you say simply because you said it. There's not a single dynamic that's taking place in Tallahassee or around Florida or around this country that I'm completely convinced that there is not enough energy and intellectual curiosity and power in this room alone that would enable you to solve it. So the question is, will you? Take this thing out for a spin. Let's see how fast it goes. So when it's time for you to return this car, you can say to yourself, I drove this thing until the wheels fell off. I test drove the hell out of this car. And I made it matter that I was ever here in the first place. Congratulations, not just on your acceptance to Florida State. That's impressive. But what we're all really excited about is you continuing to show why they accepted you in the first place. God bless you guys, and congratulations. Thanks again.
On behalf of all of us here at Florida State, Wes, I want to thank you so much. That was so inspiring and such an opportunity for us to have you here with us. Thank you very much. My name is Karen Laughlin. I'm the Dean of Undergraduate Studies here at Florida State, and I'm now going to begin the formal torch ceremony. The 3 torches have been a part of the university's seal and campus culture for over 100 years. Florida State uses the passing of these torches to the entering class as a symbol of new students' entry into a community where knowledge is gained not only from learned faculty, but also through intellectual discourse among students. That tradition continues here today. Will the representative for Vires please come forward? Vires stands for strength, and strength can take many forms: physical, moral, or intellectual. Representing Vires is Gage Smith. Gage has been recognized as the 2012 ACC Baseball Scholar Athlete of the Year, and he's made the ACC Academic Honor Roll 3 times, was named to the Capital One Academic All-District 4 First Team and the All-ACC Academic Team, and had the most game appearances in the ACC for the last 2 seasons. He is a member of Phi Eta Sigma, Sigma Alpha Lambda, Golden Key International, and Phi Kappa Alpha Honor Societies. Congratulations. Will the representative for Artes please come forward? Artes represents knowledge and skill. Embodying these ideals today is Elizabeth Ogunrinda. Elizabeth was born in Nigeria, but moved to the U.S. when she was 7 years old. She's majoring in biochemistry with a minor in French and is currently working on her honors thesis, using mice models to find potential biomarkers for Alzheimer's disease. She recently received a UNCF Merck Undergraduate Science Research Scholarship. She's also involved in the Minority Association of Pre-Medical Students, both as a member and leader, the Student Government Association as liaison in the Office of Servant Leadership, Seminole Christian Life as a student leader and treasurer, and the Center for Leadership and Social Change as a facilitator for one of the weekly service projects. Will the representative for Mores please come forward? Mores stands for character and tradition. Representing Mores is Sarah Saxner. Sarah is an interdisciplinary social studies student enrolled in the combined master's degree program for public administration. She will also graduate with a leadership studies certificate and currently serves as student body vice president. Sarah started her FSU career at the Social Justice Living Learning Community. Her student government experience includes serving as vice chair of the Oglesby Union Board, in the 64th Student Senate, and as director of the Women's Student Union. She is a founding executive council member of the Gamma Phi chapter of the Alpha Phi fraternity. Her experiences at Florida State University have led her to serve students in various capacities, including as orientation leader and Rho Gamma for the Pan-Hellenic Council. She's a member of the Honor Student Association and Garnet and Gold Key Leadership Honorarium. Finally, Sarah works for the Oasis Center for Women and Girls in Tallahassee as the camp director of the Girls Can Do Anything summer camp. Together, these three torches represent the pledge of Florida State University to educate you physically, mentally, and morally. Will Lance Felton come forward to read the essays selected to represent each torch? Lance was born in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and graduated from Howard W. Blake School of the Arts, where he majored in theater. I now call forward the three students chosen through the Torch Essay Contest to represent all new Florida State students. Each of you will have your essay read and will receive one of the three gifts of fire from your fellow students.
Quinn Rayner was selected to receive the Torch of Verus, and offers these words. Verus stands for strength, not only physical, but moral and intellectual as well. By upholding the quality of Verus, Florida State students are able to mold themselves to have a mens sana in corpore sano, a sound mind and a sound body. Remaining active and physically fit allows one to be more involved in their community and attain a greater quality of life. Moral strength allows one to not only distinguish between good and evil, but to act accordingly. While this may sound easy, it is harder to do what is right when it involves putting yourself at a disadvantage for the sake of others. In this way, empathy allows us to come together and help one another when the time comes. Intellectual strength involves setting goals and putting forth effort to achieve objectives, as well as better understanding the world around us. When all of these traits are combined, a Florida State student can use their abilities for the greater good. We can make the world a better place for everyone by aiding others to accomplish their own goals and helping others strive towards the values of Verus. A positive influence on one individual has a great impact towards creating a more productive and enjoyable society. When everyone works together, we accomplish more.
Quinn, on behalf of all new FSU students, I invite you to receive the Torch of Verus. Quinn graduated from Leon High School right here in Tallahassee. He was an AP Scholar with distinction. He was a member of Key Club, Rho Kappa, and served as Vice President for the National Honor Society, Secretary of the Latin Club, and Treasurer of both Peace Jam and the Science National Honor Society. Quinn's service activities include the Damien Garden Project, 1 Million Bones, and Project Eliminate. He was also an active part of the Leon tennis team, playing for all 4 years of high school.
Diego Cardenas was selected to receive the Torch of Artists and provides the following insight. Artists. This torch symbolizes the Seminole Nation's knowledge and unwavering appreciation of beauty. The two seemingly different qualities lie below the same flame because they are, in fact, irrevocably intertwined. Wise men or women, whom we should all endeavor to become, are in possession of both traits. Knowledge is power, and the ability to perceive beauty is its guide. An individual may be knowledgeable, but without the passion that arises from being witness to beauty, that knowledge is liable to go awry. Artists is our commitment to keep a humble perspective. It is a challenge to become great, yet remain selfless. We must never lose ourselves within ourselves. We must always remember that bigger things exist outside of us that are far more beautiful and deserving of our talents than we. We must seek knowledge and power, not to rule but to serve. We are but small pieces in the beautiful grand scheme that is our world. Yet within our hearts, we have vast potential for greatness. It is not a question of whether we will meet with success, but rather how will we define success. Success, in accordance with the Seminole motto, is a life devoted to the maintenance and creation of beauty. And in that sense, I sincerely hope every single one of us here today will grow to be successful men and women.
Diego, on behalf of all new FSU students, I invite you to receive the torch of Artes. Diego Cardenas was born in Costa Rica, but moved to Tampa, Florida when he was 4 years old. He graduated from Chamberlain High School with honors and 25th in a graduating class of almost 400. He participated in cross country and track and field for 3 years and served as captain during his senior year. He was a member of the Chamberlain National Honor Society and held the office of vice president.
Whitney Davis was selected to receive the torch of Morris and offers these words. With the lighting of the final torch, Morris, we represent custom, tradition, and character. These qualities are embodied by each and every student, and together we create a tribe enriched by history. Individually, we should strive to always remember where we came from, while never losing sight of where we're going. As we learn the traditions of this university over the next few years and set new traditions for those who will follow us, it is important to remember what makes this class a great one. This is the first of many times we will all come together as a group, and the first of many times that our Seminole pride will fill a room from wall to wall. As we maintain our pride to be students here, we should always remember to uphold the garnet and gold in all that we do. Many of us have already learned that the true test of character is doing the right thing when no one is watching. While we prosper and soar in the years to come, let us maintain this value of good character and always act appropriately. In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Let us strive to truly educate ourselves, to carry on the legacy of those before us, and to shed light on what it truly means to be a Seminole.
Whitney, on behalf of all new FSU students, I invite you to receive the torch of Morris. Whitney Davis is an exercise science and psychology major from Newport Richey. She received high honor roll all 4 years at James W. Mitchell High School and graduated summa cum laude. She was vice president of the National Honor Society and Spanish National Honor Society. She was one of 10 female participants in Florida State University's Engineering the Future Summer Academy, as well as a participant in the FSU College of Medicine Summer Institute, where she received the first Female President Award. She is a member of the Honors Program and Honors Medical Scholar Society and hopes to attend medical school after her undergraduate years. New students, I hope you are inspired by the fellow students that represent you here. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the class of 2017. Because true strength of all kinds is dependent on personal integrity, I now ask that all current and new students who are able rise and recite together the Academic Honor Policy Pledge of Florida State University. You will find the pledge printed in your program. And you should keep a copy of this pledge at hand and let it guide your actions throughout your time at FSU. Please recite the pledge along with me. I affirm my commitment to the concept of responsible freedom. I will be honest and truthful and will strive for personal and institutional integrity at the Florida State University. I will abide by the academic honor policy at all times. Please be seated.
Good afternoon. I'm Mary Coburn, the Vice President for Student Affairs, and welcome. We're so pleased to see you here. The Student Government Association and the Florida State Student Alumni Association have given you a book outlining many of the symbols and traditions of Florida State. One of the symbols is the Convocation pin, which is attached to the cover of your booklet. At this point in time, I'd ask you to take the Convocation pin off of the booklet and place it on your shirt. Dig it out of your bag. For each of you, this pin serves as a symbol of your admittance to Florida State University, its community of scholars. The pin also signifies the beginning of a lifelong relationship with this eminent university, one that will include not just challenges, but tremendous growth. Now we ask that all current and new students, faculty, and staff please stand if you're able and recite with me the Seminole Creed that is also found in your program, just above the Academic Honor Pledge. Okay, here we go. You ready? The guiding norm at Florida State is responsible freedom. As a member of this community, I promise the following: truthfulness. I will be honest and truthful at all times and work for personal and institutional integrity at Florida State University. Respect. I will show respect for others, the university, and myself. Excellence. I will pursue excellence in my learning and living in the university and beyond. Freedom of speech and inquiry. I will support academic freedom, including the right of dissent and freedom of speech. Diversity. I will learn from and about those who are different and work to make the university inclusive. Justice. I will treat others in a fair manner and strive to make the university a community of justice. Citizenship. I will act as a responsible citizen in the university and beyond, participating in those activities fostering citizenship. Discovery. I will take time for adventure, discovery, fun, excitement, and friendship. You may be seated. Now that you have recited the creed and committed to the university's values, I want to tell you about a Florida State tradition called Uphold the Garnet and Gold. While we recognize the importance of differing opinions and informed debate in a college environment, we also expect each member of our community to embrace the values of civility and ethical conduct and share in the responsibility to promote these values. We ask you to uphold the garnet and gold by demonstrating respect for yourself and for others, taking responsibility for yourself and those around you, and reflecting on the values of Florida State. Many of you received a gold coin in your bag with the Uphold the Garnet Gold logo on it. Please look for it at this time and hold up the coin if you received one. If you received one, we ask you to pay it forward by giving the coin to someone you see representing FSU well. That person might be a good sport at a game or do it as a good deed for others. The idea is to pass the coin on, not to keep it. So please give it away as soon as you see someone upholding the garnet and gold, and then act in a way that a coin will be returned to you again someday and keep the tradition going. On behalf of the Florida State University, I welcome you as the newest members of our family. Thank you very much. And now you are part of the rich history of Florida State, and therefore appropriate that you should be familiar with other traditions of the university. Here to teach you the alma mater is Dr. Kevin Fenton, Professor of Choral Conducting and Ensembles in the College of Music, who is assisted by Zachary Pecor. Zach has graduated this year from Niceville High School, where he made All-State Men's Concert and All-State Reading Chorus, in which he also performed a perfect solo. Welcome, Zach and Dr. Fenton.
So this is our opportunity to become a community together, and so the first thing that will happen is Zach will sing the alma mater for you. Then after he sings it for you, I'll teach it to you, and we'll all sing it together. Zach.
High o'er the towering pines our voices swell, praising those Gothic spires we love so well. Here sons and daughters stand, faithful and true, hailing our alma mater, FSU.
Good, we're going to go my turn, your turn. I'll sing it, and then you sing it back to me. The first line goes like this. High o'er the towering pines our voices swell. Your turn. High o'er the towering pines our voices swell. Very well done. Praising those Gothic spires we love so well. Your turn. Praising those Gothic spires we love so well. My turn. Here sons and daughters stand, faithful and true. Your turn. Here sons and daughters stand, faithful and true, hailing our alma mater, FSU. Hailing our alma mater, FSU. Good job. Now it's your turn to sing. Yeah, you can give yourselves a round after you sing it. So you probably heard somebody around you with a particularly great voice. You're going to stand now, turn to that person and say, wow, you have a good voice. This is your time also, parents, to stand. I know that if you're from Gainesville, you're going to love this opportunity to sing our alma mater. So everybody stands together and we sing it one more time as you look at your program. Here we go. And high o'er the towering pines our voices swell, praising those Gothic spires we love so well. Here sons and daughters stand, faithful and true, hailing our alma mater, FSU. Well done. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you, Professor Fenton and Zach. That was really beautiful from them and from you. In his many books and writings, pioneering sociologist W.E.B. Du Bois called work and education the two levers that uplift people. He said that to be successful, you have to have both. Work alone won't do it unless it's guided by intelligence and inspired by the right ideals. And for education to be uplifting, it shouldn't simply train you to get a job. It should teach life. That's what education did for me. It taught me life. Growing up, I never planned to go to college. I thought college was for snobs, and I insisted to every teacher who encouraged me to attend that I was never going. Although my family pushed me for good grades, we attended a church in which education was preached to be the avenue by which minds of the young were corrupted. I didn't want a corrupted mind. But I liked school, and after graduating from high school and soon thereafter suffering a broken heart from a breakup, I told my dad I wanted to go to college classes to get my mind off of my suffering. And after discovering that I could be successful taking college classes, I told my dad I wanted to go away to school. Like the good Baptist deacon that he was, he gave me a list of Southern Baptist schools to choose from. And so I went to college after all, and my college studies opened up a world that I realized I hadn't understood at all. It challenged my intellect, my beliefs, my values, my interests, all in ways that transformed my life forever. And here at Florida State, we are here to transform lives, to produce critical thinkers who can see all sides and emerge with the vision to be our future leaders. Training students for good jobs in the marketplace and educating them in the liberal arts are not mutually exclusive. Studies increasingly show that what students and their parents are looking for from a college education are the very things liberal arts universities deliver. So whether you already identify yourself with a specific field of study, reflected in the color of your shirt today, or plan to explore a bit before making a decision, those of you wearing white, remember there is a broader, larger view. By achieving success at Florida State, you will identify yourself as someone who is gifted in asking fundamental questions and probing for new insight. At the heart of what you will study here is an exploration of how things work, and this quest for knowledge is what results in the ability to anticipate the future. Potential employers are well aware of the contributions they can expect from students who graduate from Florida State University. We are depending upon you to help solve the world's problems and show the rest of us the way. As a Florida State University student, you are blessed with a golden opportunity. While here and for the rest of your lives, it is important to give yourselves a destination to move toward, while remembering to be open to new directions all along the way. Take full advantage. Make the most of your experience by mining the gold from all of the resources, the people, the organizations that are here for you. Now is the time for you to map out your future. It comes down to the choices you will make today and every day as a member of this community. You are surrounded by possible activities and options, both positive and negative, and although it might not always seem to be true, you have the freedom to choose between them. Studying hard is good, so is connecting with others. Lessons will come sometimes when you least expect them. Don't forget what being truly educated means. So take care of yourself and take care of each other. And welcome to Florida State University. I now call upon President Barron to conclude this convocation.
Thank you, Provost Stokes, and thanks to all of you, students and parents, for taking part in this ceremony. I would also like to thank the committee members who worked hard to make this ceremony a success, as well as the student a cappella groups who performed prior to it, the Acapelles and All Night Yahtzee. I now hope that all new students will be able to attend the President's Backyard Barbecue, which immediately follows this ceremony, on the grounds of the President's House and the Alumni Center. I hope you'll continue to wear your college t-shirts and introduce yourself to students who are wearing the same color, because it's just possible that you will find that you share some interests with those students in your major and beyond your major. The deans will also be wearing matching t-shirts to help identify them. You know, I was once told by an alum who was a donor to this university that the only time he ever got to meet if you ever got a chance to meet your dean, that meant you were in deep trouble. At Florida State University, we want you to meet them on the day that you enter into this university, and I hope that you will take the opportunity to say hello and to shake hands with the dean of your college. We want you to start making connections today that will last throughout your years at Florida State and the rest of your lives. And now, would all who are able please stand for the recession. All students are free to go after the recession has ended, except for those of you who are involved in Pan-Hellenic recruitment, who should remain seated. You will receive further instructions in a few minutes.